to networking to further your career. All right, so when you think of networking, what comes to mind? Mr. Plaid Shirt, black tie.
Communicating with the people you know.
Communicating with the people you know. Okay, sir.
Communicate with people who are in the field that you want to go into.
Oh, okay, I like that. Miss Thang, what do you think of networking? Nothing?
Communicating the informational interviews.
Okay. All right, all good. How about you?
Using connections you have and their connections to build a stronger base of people that could potentially help you in terms of job search and professional development.
Beautiful. Wow, that's a great answer. So yeah, communicating is what you guys were all, kind of, I like what he's saying with the two. So, networking. Today is obviously a great networking opportunity. What's nice is the commonality is we're all either, well, most of us are brothers, some are pledges, but Delta Sig is obviously what's bringing us together today. And the fact that we're all business professionals. I want to talk about networking from the standpoint of my experience with it, what's come of it, the different types of networking. So first off, I don't know if you guys can see, but I've got my fancy West County Chamber of Commerce name tag on. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to talk about, are chambers of commerce. Okay, chambers are pretty interesting. So chambers are kind of a liaison between business owners, the municipalities, the governments, education. So once a month, there's a general membership meeting that the chamber holds. So we're talking business owners, other professionals that are throughout the area. So they meet, usually starts off with something fun, a little icebreaker. For instance, they do what's called business card bingo. So you have this pretty much bingo card that you're taking around, and you have to meet people. So it might say on there, meet somebody with a purple shirt. You go talk to Nicole. Or it'd say, meet somebody who works for the state. Meet somebody who works with numbers. So the whole premise is you're walking around networking and meeting these people that you don't know, and it breaks the ice because they make it in a game form. Okay, you got to be thinking that the chamber, obviously you hope to grow your business, but the chamber is what they call, it's more to be seen and to get some credibility. You're probably not going to walk away from a chamber meeting with some new business, but what you will walk away with, meeting more people. So what's nice is if you're asked by somebody, hey, do you know a good plumber? Yeah, actually I met Rob's Plumbing at the chamber event. Seems like a pretty solid person. Okay? Again, the chamber's a little different. The chamber's more of a visual, bring some credibility. The reason why I joined the chamber is I've got a small company. I used to work for a big bank, actually the biggest bank in the world for a while there. When it comes to a bank and when it comes to a huge company, there's usually not a face to go with it. Okay? And while the chamber has a lot of banks in there, I'm the only one that strictly does mortgages. I'm strictly a mortgage company. So I stand out. And our name too, the mortgage company, it stands out. Again, chambers, they're a little different. Next up, I'll talk about BNI. Anybody know what BNI stands for? Dustin?
Business Networking International.
There we go, Business Networking International. So these guys meet on a weekly basis, and it's industry exclusive. The chamber is not. So the chamber, there could be 10 banks in the chamber. BNI, per chapter, is actually really similar to Delta Sig. They meet on a weekly basis. They have a structure that they follow. They've got a president. They've got other officers. You got to pay dues. You got to do all that stuff. What your sole focus is to network there to get referrals to grow your business. Okay? And you're not necessarily trying to get their business, the people that you're seeing every week. You're trying for them when they're out and about meeting with clients, out and about in their community, their friends and family, and they hear somebody who needs a mortgage. Oh, Kyle's my mortgage guy. I see him every week. He told me a story about him saving this guy $200 a month. Let me have him call you. Maybe he can help you out as well. So that's, again, more of a weekly networking thing. And it's not for everybody. It's extremely structured. Some people like it, some people don't. Chambers, same way. I would say people have this misconception about networking that it's only for salespeople, which really isn't the case. If you're a small business owner, I mean, heck, there's a million different reasons why you would go to networking events. What I like about networking events is you get to meet new people, which I always find interesting. Usually there's food, beverage, both served. And what I like is that I walk away from it knowing somebody I didn't know before I went to the meeting. So again, if I have something happen and I need a plumber or I need an electrician, I finally know somebody, or if I'm asked, because I feel like it reflects badly on you if somebody asks you for a recommendation and you don't have anybody to recommend them to. All right, last thing I want to talk about are business cards, which I know is kind of strange. So to kind of kick this off, here I'll show the camera. Here's one of my business cards. All right, so everybody keep this business card in your hand, because I was asked in the last session, which I thought was a great question, is what makes a good business card? And I know it seems silly. It's like, well, business card is just a piece of paper with some words and numbers on there. But that is not true. I have at my office literally hundreds of business cards. Okay? What makes a good business card? First off, there's a movie, American Psycho, that was out in 2000. And there's a scene where they talk about the card stock, which is just a fancy way for saying what it's made out of. I feel like there's a proper thickness. I think these cards are pretty good. I could use them to be a little bit thicker. But kind of rub them between your fingers. Notice the texture of the card. Some cards are really smooth. Some cards are really flimsy. Some cards are colorful. Some cards are boring. Some cards have pictures. Some cards don't. I think it tells a lot about the person what their business card is like. Notice mine's horizontal. That's how most business cards are. You'll see some that are vertical, which is kind of weird, but you know, if you want to stand out in that way. I've had business cards that were a little bigger than this. The strangest business card I've seen is a clear business card. It's clear, it's got a picture of the guy, and it's got black letters on there. It is the ugliest card you've ever seen. He's an insurance guy, and yeah, I'm not a fan of his card. Our cards are okay, they're a little flimsy. I think there's a little too much information on there, but what I like is that the back is blank. Okay, notice that the back is blank. If you were to meet me at a networking function, along with probably another 30 or 40 other people, and we had a nice little conversation, I recommend writing it on the back of the card. How you met me, where you met me, what we talked about. Because as you go to more and more networking functions, which it gets easier the more you go to, but it is a little awkward. It's a forced, hey everybody, let's start talking. I mean, it's very awkward. You just get better at it. And again, you go into it thinking, hey, I'm not going to try to sell these people. I'm not going to try to walk out of here with some business that I didn't have before. I really am trying to go in here and make friends. And I love what you said earlier. It's not so much you want their business, the people you're meeting at the networking, but I do mortgages. So who am I trying to meet? I'm trying to meet realtors. I'm trying to meet insurance people. I'm trying to meet other people who talk to homeowners or home buyers that can say, hey, I got the right mortgage guy for you. It's Kyle. I met him at an event. You know, really nice guy, some would say. So again, I'd say on the business card front, have good cards, don't overthink it. I like pictures, some people don't like pictures. It all depends. But when you do these networking events, you're going to meet so many people. Try to stand out. I don't know if anybody caught Wayne's, Wayne gave some good tips. Be memorable, be sticky, you know. There are probably a lot of other people that are going to be doing the same thing that you do. How are you going to set yourself apart? So, we have some time. What questions do you guys have? Any questions?
So where do you find these networking opportunities?
Great question. So, the chamber is more geographically. So, I live in West County. I joined the West County Chamber because obviously that's convenient for me. I would say first off, just think geography. If you go online, you can find events. There's a lot of young professional events, which are really cool. Nicole actually went to one at the Art Museum, and then they served some cocktails there. So, I mean, these are fun events. You know, you're not going there and just standing there not talking to anybody. There's usually some drinks flowing. It's at a cool location. So I'd say go online, geographically try to figure it out. Also by industry. So depending on what industry you're in. And that's where some people look at it, well, why would you want to be networking with your competitors? Well, Good case in point is that actually after I spoke earlier, I had somebody come up, he works for a different bank, and he asked if I was interested in coming to work for him. So that's also kind of an interesting thing too, is your competitors could actually be your employer someday. So you don't want to burn bridges when it comes to networking.
This is something I know that you have experience with,
Uh-huh.
because I was there when it came up. But sometimes your competitors aren't even your competitors. They're in the same line of work you are, but they specialize in the stuff you don't do, and you specialize in the stuff they don't do. So it's
Great point. Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. For instance, I only do first mortgages. Some people need a second mortgage. So I've had to actually seek out competitors who offer that, because again, I don't offer it, but it's something that I need to be able to offer. Let's put it that way. Good example, I went to a different chamber of commerce. This was actually the Kirkwood Chamber. Went to a luncheon, and for me, I always go in there just kind of, seeing who's there and trying to find at least one person that I don't know that I want to talk to that I feel like might be interesting. So I saw this guy, Paul, and he just seemed funny right off the bat. He and I started talking. We had coffee together after that. So I had this deal come by, which was a nice big deal, but there are certain things that caused it to be out of the scope of what I could do. But I thought about Paul. Paul works for a bank. He's actually more on the commercial small business side, which again, I deal mostly with mortgages, homeowners. I'm not messing with the commercial stuff. And I was able to give him that business. I mean, I didn't get anything. It's not like he gave me, an envelope full of money under the table, but knowing people and being known as a person who knows people, that's really the main thing of networking. Because again, you're not just trying to meet people to get their business. You got to think bigger than that. You got to be thinking, I'm building a sphere of influence so these people can help me grow my business. The B&I thing, again, the B&I thing's a little different. It's industry exclusive. You can go on their website. It's like B&I Midwest region. That's a little different. Again, that is straight up. You're doing the same thing every week. You're trying to grow your business through referrals there. Last thing, social media. So I'm sure, like you guys heard Don say, everybody should have a LinkedIn profile. Same thing with that. It's not just, you want to actually get a connection with these people. You want to grow beyond that. My brother-in-law, who's also a brother, my brother-in-law is my brother, and my wife is a brother, and this is her brother, and she was his big brother.
which one of you plays the banjo?
So he wanted a job at Equifax. And Kevin Weber, I don't know if you guys all know Kevin Weber, great guy. I thought of Kevin Weber, and I'm like, well, I know Kevin Weber. He works at Equifax. So that's kind of where you got to be thinking from a networking standpoint. It's just like that. It's the connections that you make where you may not, I don't work at Equifax, but I know somebody who does, who can at least give some information about it. Even if he's not the hiring manager, he might know somebody good to send his resume to, or he might know the right person to talk to, or at least give him a little flavor for the corporate culture there. Other questions? We've got about 9 minutes. Plenty of time. You ladies that just showed up, any questions? Networking? No? Business cards? Any questions about business cards? Any other questions? Any other topics you want me to discuss? How about that?
You want to discuss the cost of getting involved with the chamber and B&I?
Yeah. It's not free. I'll tell you that much. B&I groups run around $500 to $600 annually, which I know sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. However, placing an ad, and I know you guys probably haven't even touched a newspaper before. We're in the information age, it's all electronic, but there are these things called papers, and they still actually print advertisements on papers. To be in there for 1 week, you're talking $300-400 for an ad about the size of this. Television, radio, forget about it. There's no freaking way. You can't afford it. Okay, so to think that for $500 or $600, what you're really doing is you're buying your way into this group, and they're all salespeople for you. Because when they hear a friend or family or one of their clients that needs something that you offer, they should think of you. And they should have either you call them or they'll call you. So yeah, several hundreds of dollars, which I know is an investment. The chamber, similar. Chamber's about $650, $700, something like that. Sometimes the business will pay for it. Sometimes it comes out of your own pocket. But again, you just got to think that's kind of the price you have to pay in order to potentially grow your business. Good question. Any other questions?
As a college student, how would you recommend like expanding your network as much as possible? Like what kind of strategies would you use on campus?
Okay. Ooh, great question. I like that. Let's see, how would I expand it? I think that the main thing that I'm looking for, you guys are in college. If I saw your resume, it would probably be mostly academic, not a lot of work experience. So I guess for me, what I want to know is more about you. That's something that Wayne talked about that I really liked, is just be yourself. Being fake just doesn't cut it. I have extremely long interviews. When I interview people, they're there for hours. Because you can fake it 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. You're with somebody for a few hours, and I'm serious. You're with somebody for a few hours, and they have to become themselves. So I'd say the first strategy is just be yourself. The second one is if you really sit down and think about the people that you already know, you'd be surprised. Like I interviewed this guy a few months ago, and he's like, well, Kyle, I don't know anything about mortgages. And I'm like, I can teach you the mortgage thing. I've been doing it for 10 years. That's not what I'm concerned about. I can't teach you to be extroverted. I can't teach you to attend a networking event and not be a wallflower. That's ingrained in you. So that'd be another thing, is to just make sure that you are yourself and to let me know, kind of get a flavor for your personality. Because that's really the big thing, your work experience. And even if you had a 4.0 GPA, yeah, that's great, but if all you did was go to class and you didn't do internships and you didn't do anything else, and I've got somebody who has a 3.5 GPA who actually did some of that stuff. I actually got my first job out of college. A headhunter found me, and one of the main reasons he was drawn to my resume, because again, I didn't have a whole lot of experience. I had an internship, I had worked at some other places. The main thing is that I had written in there that I had worked my way through college. My parents didn't give me $1 to help pay for my college. I had to do it all on my own. So I'd wake up in the morning, go to my internship, then I'd go to class, then I'd go to the restaurant, and then usually the bar after the restaurant. So, it's one of those things that just, as you guys are just starting to get out there, you're not going to have the experience, which is fine. Just be you and be memorable and let people know what you're all about and what you aspire to do. One of the things that I found with networking, you just have to get it out there, what you're looking for. That's the beauty of like a BNI group, is every week you're telling people, I'm looking for this, and you're telling between 20 and 30 people, this is what I'm looking for. If you see it, please send it my way. So kind of keep that in mind. And like I said, who you know, just think about your aunts, your uncles. Try to think about who do you know in an industry that maybe you want to get into, or who do you know. I mean, this is such a great opportunity for you guys to be here at Career Prep Day, because you do have places all over the board. It's crazy what a wide variety of businesses there are here.
Should they throw away this pamphlet, or should they maybe look through it and contact the two people?
Do not throw away the pamphlet. Yeah, I would say, again, back to being memorable, we're giving you our contact info. We're saying, hey, some of us are hiring, some of us aren't. But if you have any questions, I would love to get a call from somebody saying, hey, I heard you speak, or I saw you there. Let's go grab a cup of coffee, and I'll buy the coffee. It's fine. But for me, that's what it's all about. The networking is just connecting with people. And again, it's not necessarily trying to get their business. It's growing your network and getting your network to send you business. That's really the important part about it. The mastermind group that's coming up next, I highly recommend sticking around for. I even learned a few things with that. It's, again, putting it out there. What do you want? If you just sit in your office, and I'm guilty of this too, it's easy to just hide in your office. But once you get out there, motion creates emotion. How does that work? Motion creates emotion?
Yeah.
Activity begots activity. So, yeah, just get out there and let people know what you're interested in. If it's a job that you want and you know somebody that is doing it, well, hey, how did you even get involved with that? What are some things that you did in your past that qualified you for that? Because again, for me, I'm not looking for people, I mean, yeah, it'd be great if you had mortgage experience, but I'd rather take somebody who's a superstar salesperson and I can teach them the mortgage thing than somebody who has a lot of mortgage experience and, you know, that's, yes.
I just was gonna say something that can help people network. I volunteer a lot. Like I did the bike event. I volunteered at a bike event. You already have the common interest to get the conversation going. I volunteer at running events. So you already have that common interest. And that helped me a lot with the networking part. And then I work at Quick Trip, a gas station, so I deal with a ton of people a day. So if you do have a job where you deal with a lot of people, just talk to people. They're not going to bite you, or hopefully they won't. But you can build so many connections that way too.
That's a great point.
I'll touch on something too, because I do a lot of networking, and Kyle and I have met through networking and just bumped into each other at networking events and such. It's really not about even the people that you meet as much as it is kind of getting known as the person that people go to when they need to find somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I need a plumber or a dentist or a mechanic. I know I can ask Kyle. Kyle's got the answer. Because it may turn out, hey, I'm actually thinking about buying a house, and I don't know. He just switched companies. He went to work for a new company. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. You never know when that's going to happen. Plus, as people start getting a lot of business from you, they start wanting to return the favor. Mm-hmm. So the networking really is about giving away as much as you can give away, because then people just feel obligated to give back.
Great point. Definitely. All right, any other questions? We are about out of time.
Actually, you are out of time.
Nope. Out of time. All right, well, thanks, everybody.